Hello, everyone. We're back. You've probably figured out by now. I've got the same shirt on. I'm in the same section of the beach. Record exact day. Segments of my show on the very same day here at the beach. But these are separated, so I'm trying to figure out whether or not you figured out that I'm still doing this, right? It's been a stretch of the whole morning. But I don't want to give my secrets away because as each episode gets longer and longer, my face is getting redder and redder. I love it. Fantastic. Awesome. I sit here. I'm here with another episode of Hashtag NJ NextGen HPE, and I want to talk about everybody's favorite subject, assessment in physical education. Dun, dun, dun. All right, so here I am. I'm going to put on my supervisor of health and PE hat and tell you the lowdown on assessment in PE. Here it comes. You ready? Thing number one. Getting changed for PE is not a national standard or a state standard anywhere. It is an expectation and should not be used as an assessment unless it's part of a bigger grade in participation. Let me just put that out there. Second big one. Fitness testing should not be used as a grade because there will be very little you can do to affect the fitness level of kids that they don't already do on their own out of school. So it's an unfair assessment of their ability in physical education and does not define their ability to be physically literate. I also don't believe in fitness testing as an SGO because it's not a fair test of your teacher. Unfair to you and also unfair to the child. So fitness testing an SGO or a student learning objective, a student growth objective or student learning objective is a no-no, right? I'm sorry about that. Now I just pooped on everybody's parade. I just pooped on everybody's parade and walked. I'm so sorry. But I mean, when we think about what it is we're looking to achieve in education, what do we really want kids to be able to do? How do we set their feet on a physical literacy journey so that they internalize the joy of being active and healthy for life? And it's not, are you dressed and what's your fitness level? I'm sorry, but it's not. And I get to be here on the beach without anybody arguing, so I'm really happy about that. So Judy, what's in Judy? When you open the grade book, Judy, what do you look for? Well, I'll tell you a couple of things. I don't think anyone should fit a kid, right? So make sure that you have at least 3 assessments in a grade book that count for 33% or less, 4 assessments for 25% and less. And make sure you're looking to measure the standards and the performance expectations in your state, right? And so is there improvement with motor skill? Great. Is there ability for kids to understand how games are played and so that they can transfer that in their own life? Great. Kids engaging in the less tangible things, engaging in acts of personship and kindness and character. It's a little harder to measure, right? But I think, some of your assessments are on a regular basis daily, right? Based on the things that you see and that you're asking on things like that kids are giving you a thumbs up or down. Whether or not kids are able to show you what they know when you're asking them questions. So I think assessment has to be seen in a different way in our field. It was once said to me that because we're a performance subject area, that the teacher is actually observing and assessing every 8 seconds in their classroom when they've got kids engaged in activity. And I would say that's probably right? And some of the best assessment you do is that informal stuff, right? When you're digging in there going, oh no, Johanna, make sure that that you follow through. Great job, that kind of thing. So the assessment piece, we have to make sure we don't take ourselves too seriously here. But we also have to make sure we do the work that it takes. Ooh, I dropped you. Are you okay? We have to make sure we do the work that it takes to make the assessments meaningful for kids so that they know where they are, right? So let me give you an example. When I'm Thank you very much. When I'm observing teachers in the classroom in physical education, I go in and I'm not watching you. I'm watching kids, and I'm not listening for you. I'm listening for kids. And in a 45 to 50-minute segment, I'll call two kids over to me as the observer, and I'll ask kids two questions. What are you learning today, and why are you learning it? What are you learning today, and why are you learning it? You see, because what they're learning is the objective of the day, and the why is their ability to internalize why it's important, right? The why is what they internalize to walk off with. So typically, when I ask these questions, I can think of one particular time in a middle school badminton lesson. I call the kid over, and I said, "What are you learning today?" And the kid says, "Badminton." And I said, "Why are you learning it?" And they're like, "I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know why I'm here." And this is the wrong answer. The what should be the skill the child is learning. The badminton is the how. The badminton is the activity, right? And then the why is really important. So when I ask another kid, it should be like this. What are you learning today? I'm learning the serve in badminton. Why are you learning it? Because the serve starts the game. And then the how is the stations or the drills or the activities that the teacher is doing. In fact, I would say that one of the best things I see in a classroom in physical education is a bulletin board or a whiteboard that has three words: what, how, and why. What, how, and why. The what are your learning objectives, readily available for kids to take a look at so they know where to find them. The why is the core idea of what they're doing. Why are we doing this today? Because X. And then the how is the game. The how is the activity. The how are the stations. Really, really important for kids to know what's happening to them when they walk in the classroom. Kids don't want to be surprised. They want to know what's happening to them. And you know it as well as I do. What are we doing today? What are we doing today? What are we doing today? Are we playing basketball today? Are we playing basketball? Are we playing basketball? Are we playing basketball? Kids want to know what's happening to them. They don't want to be surprised. And I think it's an important part of the teaching to make sure that we prep them and do the work necessary before they get into the classroom to make them feel comfortable, right? So what, how, and why. And it's really important for you to make sure that when you are teaching that you use this technique with kids so that you can assess whether or not they really understand what's happening. You call the kid over and say, "Do you know what you're learning today? Do you know why you're learning it?" It's a great tool for you to be able to use, right? We don't want kids, when we ask them why they're doing this, to shrug their shoulders and say, "I have no idea," right? That's an important part, right? The core idea is the important part. The why is really important. So that's part of the assessments that I think you should be really mindful of. What else, Judy? I think knowledge and skill is a part of what we're doing in physical education, yes. I think it's really important to have rubrics ready to go around, probably a 3-scale rubric like we did in PE metrics for Shape America, right? And that 3-point rubric is the kid has it, the kid doesn't have it, the kid kind of has it. 3 points. Because look, you've got hundreds of kids streaming through your gym every single day. And when you go to do a formal assessment, you don't have the kind of time that it would require for you to do an intense rubric assessment, right? I mean, back in the 80s when we were all in college, we were doing task analyses and we were really digging into this. It's just not feasible at this point to be able to do that. So what I say is do a 3-point rubric and just be able to tell the kid, you're there, you're not there yet, or you're kind of there, when it comes to skill improvement. Because when we look at, the real point of physical education, we're trying to achieve a kid that internalizes the joy of physical activity for life, right? So yes, physical fitness assessment has its place as a snapshot of a child's health once a year or so. But the real work comes in being able to unpack, meeting a child where they are. And then I'll leave you with this last piece, because I know this is a bit longer video than I wanted it to be. The last piece is this. When I was in high school, I loved basketball. And what I loved most about basketball was the foul shot. And I used to shoot, and I used to feel nothing but net. Swish, swish. I loved that feeling. Consequently, when I missed and it hit the rim and it flew off, that sucked. Failure sucks. Not getting it in sucked. It felt awful. The same is true of our kids. And I have to tell you, whether or not you're a basketball player, an athlete, or an obese child, or a kid that's in a wheelchair, doesn't matter. Every child in your class has the right to feel their swish. That's my statement. Make sure that every child in your class, no matter who they are, what their ability is, they have the feeling of the swish. So if they have to be the swisher that, the net is lower or the ball is different or the line is closer, come on. Physical education is not athletics, and no one ever said it needed to look like athletics, particularly at the high school level. What is that about, right? It doesn't have to be 3 volleyball nets at the same size, the end line at the same place. Look, change it up and mix it up and make sure that you're developing a culture in your classroom where all those kids understand everybody's in a different place and they all lift each other up together, whether they're athletes or they are not as confident and skillful. It's about the experience, not about the ball or the net or the line. We got to get away from that stuff. So when we talk about assessment and physical education, what is it you most value for these kids on their journey to physical literacy? Make sure they're standards-based, make sure they're measurable, and open that grade book and be proud when you can tell somebody, here's how I prove the grade in this class. That's all I've got for now. Thanks for joining me at #NJ NextGen HPE.